A very warm welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're listening to the Tokunbo Fernandez show, a show that promotes the true life and success stories of Africans and Caribbeans around the world. So, if there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call on 0788 280 9005. That's 0788 280 9005. And also feel free to visit our website at www.tonyfernandez.co.uk. It's all about promoting the true life and success stories of Africans and Caribbeans around the world. And we have some amazing guests lined up for the rest of the year. So it's your channel, your voice. Take a few seconds also to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share the video as well. As we log into Nigeria now to speak to another amazing African
Again,
community ambassador doing great work. He's a world renowned visual artist, singer, songwriter. He has his fingers in very many pies, and he's also a special advisor consultant on arts and culture to the Edo State Government. So it's a pleasure to have on the show for the very first time uh, Mr. Enotie Ogbebor. It's been quite a long while, and definitely with all the great work you're
straight,
doing,
straight.
pride to Nigeria, pride to Africa, and also a pride to Federal Government College Azare. How are you today?
Oh, I'm very well. Thank you. Fine, thank you.
I'm
Good
sure.
morning, and thank you for having me.
Beautiful. Nice to see you in person after all
Yeah.
these years. I'm sure our listeners around the world want to know a bit about yourself, your background, and what you're passionate about in life.
Well, I'm a self-taught artist. Turn around. I'm a self-taught artist, and I have interests in promoting culture and preserving uh, customs, which are positive and um, progressive. I'm also passionate about creativity, about singing, about drama, about filmmaking. I'm also very passionate about the recovery of the restitution of our looted artifacts, which
Fantastic.
are scattered in various museums all over the world and in some private hands all over the world as a result of the British invasion of the Benin Kingdom in 1897. We are collaborating with the Edo State Government to build a world-class museum that will house these artifacts when eventually they are returned. We've made a lot of progress, and we're very happy with our collaborators and other institutions who have been working with us thus far. Also a visual artist, and I love to express myself. Bring focus to topics which I find important to us and to humanity. And
Beautiful.
yeah, I think I'll stop there for now.
Okay. I've been following, like you know, I've been following your work for several years. Actually, we've been following each other. Um, how and when did your whole journey began before you became a great ambassador of African and arts and culture?
How did the journey begin?
Yeah, how did the journey begin and when?
Oh well, let me say from childhood, I already had a predilection for sketching and drawing and singing, drama, creating all kinds of things. But my educational exposure pushed me towards economics and statistics. That's what I read in university. But after I left university, I began to explore the creative field. And in 1995, I got to know that there was to be uh, that there was to be a commemoration of the British invasion of Benin in 1997, a 100-year commemoration of the British invasion of Benin in 1997. And so, spurred on by this, I had 2 years. I felt I had 2 years to prepare. And so, spurred on by this, I began to reach out to the organizing committee set up by the Oba of Benin, the late Oba Erediawa at the time. And I was given permission to organize these exhibitions to commemorate this great event. And that is how my journey into the formalized studio in Lagos, working with other artists, we began to produce works, and I began to do a lot of research. And the more I read, and the more I found out about our cultural heritage and history, the more I realized that there was more than we had been told. And we therefore needed to highlight this and bring it to the notice of as many people as one could. And so began my journey in the arts. Hold on, please, 1 second.
Sure.
And so this journey began, and so we created a lot of works. I came across documents from the British Parliament talking about 1897 and the debate before the war was allowed. And so we began to realize that this invasion was premeditated for economic reasons. And these artifacts that were looted were wrongly looted, and therefore they need to be returned back home. And so that became one of the aspects of my focus, while the innate creativity to bring the beauty of my environment, bring attention to the devastation of the environment by our human activity, to also highlight the plight of children, child hawkers, and citizens generally in my country, Nigeria, and the world. And so I try to use my art to create works that will sensitize people to the need to strive for beauty in all we do, and to live a better world, live a world a better place than we met it. And so it's been quite a journey, which has taken me into music, into drama, into film, into visual arts, and now into the museum world, where one has been navigating the museum institutions around the world in order to bring our quest for the restitution of our stolen items to fruition. I must say that the Edo State Government, led by Mr. Godwin Obaseki, has been the pillar that was required to make this happen. And he has been very focused. And we have also gladly been working with him to bring this dream of building a world-class museum to house the restituted artifacts when they are returned. So far, so good. The Germans have pledged to return all of the artifacts in their possession. A lot of institutions around the world, both in the UK and in America, have joined to pledge the pledge to bring back the artifacts which are traceable to 1897, which were looted from Benin in 1897, to also bring them back. So yeah, that is a brief summary of the journey thus far, my motivation and passion.
That's fantastic. For the benefit of all our listeners around the world today who want to
Yeah.
learn more about our history and our stories, who are the Benin people, and what would you say are the proudest achievements of them you think they've made in world history?
Okay, the Bini people are in the southern part of present-day Nigeria. They come from the Benin Kingdom, which is part of present-day Nigeria, with the capital in Benin City. We have a proud history which spans back thousands of years. We have a monarchy which has an unbroken succession line of 40 rulers, 40 kings. We had a civilization which has produced its own architecture, its own governance structure, its own medicine, its own art, especially when it comes to bronze casting. We produce fine ivories, and we are especially renowned for the digging of the moat around the city, which is reputed to be the largest earthworks made by man in the world. This, as noted by the Guinness Book of Records, we produced artifacts, bronzes, which are hundreds of years old, ivories, which are hundreds of years old. And this, in the quest for colonialism and expansion of Britain's territorial empire, they then invaded Benin, destroyed the city, destroyed the kingdom, looted the artifacts, and then put in place a colonial administration. But today, we are proud to say that we are part of Nigeria, but we have retained our culture, we have retained our customs, and we keep to forge ahead to bring this culture, customs, and our history to the knowledge of our fellow citizens, and to find a way to bring the artifacts which our illustrious forebears created, and which has been acclaimed globally as very fine pieces of art, which can only be produced by high civilization. We hope when we bring these artifacts back home, they will serve as a spur and a source of inspiration to ensure that our people and successive generations coming behind us can be sufficiently inspired to achieve and strive for excellence in whatever spheres of activities they find themselves. That's in a nutshell. And the Bini people, or as we call ourselves, the Edo people, we have our language, the indigenous language called Edo. And we are a proud and accomplished old civilization. And we have an Oba, a king, and our succession is by primogeniture. Thank you.
Fantastic. What current initiatives are you working on at the moment that you feel the world should know about?
Okay, well, personally, I have just been appointed a visiting fellow of the creative arts to the Cambridge University Museum.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll be there. I'll be visiting that program for that program for a year. And then I also have been given a prestigious art residency in Berlin for 3 months. So that is on the personal side. And of course, I have a standing invitation to have a solo exhibition at the British Museum, which was supposed to happen this year, but because of the COVID pandemic, it has been shifted. But on the general side, we are collaborating with Sir David Ajay, the renowned Ghanaian British architect,
Beautiful.
to develop the Edo Museum of West African Arts, EMOA, in Benin. And this world-class museum will cater, will serve the purpose of housing the artifacts which are to be returned, the Benin artifacts which are to be returned. It will serve as an institution for research of not just Benin artifacts, but also arts from the entire West Africa and beyond. It also has a section which is dedicated to what the contemporary arts. It's going to serve as a fulcrum for the cultural quarters which is being developed. As you know, the world famous bronzes are casted by a guild, the Igun, at Igun Street, the Igun Guild bronze casters, who still practice till today.
Yeah.
And so all this will be incorporated into the cultural quarter. And we hope that this will help to bring the knowledge of our history and our proud heritage to our people, and to be able to share it with the entire world, drive tourism, provide employment, and create for any visitor who comes to Benin a sense of who we are and a sense of the direction we are headed.
When we talk about sense of direction, how important is it for us as African people to tell our stories through painting, through poetry, through songs, through dance, and through our history?
You know, the African adage or the well-worn saying that if you do not know where you're coming from, it's difficult to know where you are going to or even where you are. As you know, continent was partitioned in 1884 at the Berlin Conference. And the various colonial Western powers who came over to colonize the continent destroyed the fabric of our society and imposed an entire new, and imposed a culture which was alien to us through colonialism, through Western education, Western diet, and Western customs. This had the effect of creating impression to successive generations that we had no history, we had no civilization, we had no culture, and therefore these colonialists brought civilization, so to speak. And this has led to a situation where our souls are disconnected from our brains, figuratively speaking. So we are always playing catch up, always trying to imitate what is alien to our DNA, what is alien to us as a people because of the colonial influence. And therefore, one should recognize that colonialism is a product of racism. And racism is a theory that a race is inferior to another, or that a race is superior to another. And this has put us in a position where successive generations believe that they are inferior to another race. But the rediscovery of our history, of our culture, and our civilization reinforces the simple truth that all races were created equal. And we therefore have to take our place at the table as equals. And this whole process has been very important because in the discussion of the restitution issues, in the discussion of the return of our looted items, artifacts, the discussion is being carried out on the basis of equals, not on the basis of inferiority or superiority of any races. And so it is important that our people know our history, know our heritage, know our civilization, and decide for themselves which aspect we want to keep and which aspects we wish to discard. Because as we make progress, true progress can only be founded on advancing what is originally yours. Wholesale copying of what others have developed cannot be termed as true advancement. And so I believe that when we know who we are, it becomes easier for us to define where we want to go, how we want to live. And this can only be achieved if we share our narratives, our truths to successive generations of Africans, no matter where they are, so that they can proudly take their place at the table with their heads held high and with the notion that they are equals with any race on the face of the earth.
On a very, very final note, when you speak about knowing who we are as a people, what message do you have for Africans and Caribbeans around the world today?
My message is very clear that as human beings, we are all equal. We come from a very proud and accomplished civilization. We have achieved much more that has been part of the global narrative because our stories were never told by us. And so they were subject to all kinds of manipulation to keep us subjugated mentally and economically. And therefore, it is time that we recognize our true heritage, no matter where you are. Every Black man and every African, anywhere in the world, has its origins from Africa. So when you recognize that Africa was the root of civilization, of education, of science, of medicine, of astrology, of astronomy, of design, name it, we had it. And so we cannot allow a brief blimp in our history to erase all the accomplishments which have been made over centuries, over millennia in Africa, to be wiped away from our memories and instead replaced with an inferior ideology. Therefore, we all need to really focus on rediscovering ourselves and the truth about our continent and know that we can strive for excellence and achieve anything that we put our minds to, as long as they have uplifting and everlasting values.
That's fantastic. Now, if people want to get to know more about your work, whether it's through your visual art, whether it's through your visual painting, whether it's through your songs, whether it's through your publications, are there any social media platforms out there that people can reach you on?
Yes, my handle on Instagram is I am Enotie. I am Enotie. Um, at I am Enotie. And then Enotie Ogbebor on Facebook. And if you Google my name, you see other links that take you to Sachi, www.sachiart.com. And yeah, a couple of other links, the British Museum and other institutions around the world.
And we will continue to support your journey in making the world a better place and also in representing Nigerian and African voices. Keep up the amazing work.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
It's a
It's been a
pleasure.
pleasure. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Speak to you
Bye.
soon, and God bless.